granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, I was looking through for a small quirky article that I could make a short of today, because I felt today was a day for making shorts, considering that I'd made a couple of quite long videos recently, and I came across this, written by some cheeky monkey called Alf Laurie, that people are increasingly unwilling, he says, or unable to pay attention to sophisticated long-form storytelling. You tosser! That's exactly why he's using this as viewers are the reason TV is so bad. I mean, it's the whole thing that's wrong with the mainstream media is encapsulated in this. Viewers are the reason TV is so bad. So it's our fault. It's our fault. Because we are increasingly unwilling or unable to pay attention to sophisticated long-form storytelling. Like, none of us is happy to sit for 2 hours listening to Jordan Peterson just sitting there talking to some interviewer for 2 hours. No, we don't have the patience to pay attention to sophisticated entertainment, do we? That is the most ridiculous thing. And it is a typical example of somebody, in this case Alf Laurie, but I doubt he is unusual, typical of the media who have this bubble vision they have. Bubble vision, yeah, that's good. They have this thing. They're looking here, they can't see anything on either side of them because they've got these blinkers on. And they blame the viewers because they don't have a broad picture. All right, well, I'm going to go through the article a bit. I am really disgusted by this. As you may have noticed, I'm somewhat annoyed, a little irritated, just a smidgen unhappy about what he's said. I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share it, please subscribe to my channel. If you are subscribed, or at least if you think you're subscribed on YouTube, check it out because they drop people's subscriptions for some reason or another. And if you want to help me financially, well, all the links are in the description. My horses will be grateful. As a matter of fact, I had a riding jacket that the lining it started to tear. Riding jackets come in for an awful lot of really hard work that most jackets don't, like pulling forward and back and twisting and that sort of thing. So the lining had given way and I had it relined, and the company made a splendidly awful job of the relining. I was going to do it myself. Then I realised it was going to be a bit complicated. I thought I'll have it done professionally. So I paid a fortune to this company to reline it, and they made a total Horlicks of it. Absolute mess. And I had to take it to another dressmaker to it's cost me a fortune, that jacket now. So, yeah, that's where I was going. Any financial help, always useful. Okay, right, let's get on with this. Granniopteryx, over to you. Okay, so what he starts off with, Alf Laurie here. Television is not what it used to be. In the Telegraph last week, former producer David Herman blamed TV executives, governors and ministers. Exactly the people who should be blamed. I didn't see that article in the Telegraph. Perhaps I'll look it up later. But David Herman, you are absolutely right. It's the executives. It's the governors. It's the ministers. And why? Because they all have the same view. We talk about the Westminster bubble and the media think, they all have this group think thing. And so they think, well, the masses, they want a certain level of entertainment, so that's what we're going to give them. Oh, and by the way, we're going to stick in a little bit of multiculturalism and DEI as well, just to nudge them in the right political direction. And then they wonder why people don't want to watch the rubbish they put out, the inaccurate, ahistorical rubbish. And of course, it says here that this guy, Alf Laurie, says, "We in the industry do not dream of making endless programmes of people bonking in desert islands." Yes, you do. I mean, you might not, Alf Laurie, but that's what the executives and governors think that the public want. And indeed, occasionally some of them do. But they're the same people who will also turn to YouTube to get proper political discussion. And did you hear? Do you know? I don't know if I'll be able to find it now, but if I do find it, I'll cut in here and show you how somebody on the BBC reporting the Manchester horror a few days ago was twisting himself into knots, trying to make it all about the far right. I kid you not. This was an Islamist terrorist killing people at prayer. And this reporter was talking about this being triggered or somehow engineered in some way by the far right. And the person he was talking to was, and you couldn't see her, but she was sort of verbally nodding sagely and not saying, hang on a minute, they're following a script. And it's the executives, the governors and the ministers who have given them this script. I don't know how that guy could sleep at night. I really don't. What he said was so much of a lie, so much of a slap in the face of every viewer of the BBC, so much of a slap in the face of the Jewish community who were so badly treated and are still being badly treated. And he's talking about the far right. Whew, okay.
Some of what we're seeing right around the world is coming from those Middle East tensions. Now, we do not know any details about the attacker here or any motive, but it's clear, as you said, that many communities have felt vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, the Jewish community has felt vulnerable since before the October the 7th attacks 2 years ago. They did feel that there was a rising tension, and it was coming from two directions. It was coming from people who had a political mindset linked to what was going on in the Middle East, but also from the far right, which hasn't completely gone away in terms of the Jewish community. Some of the neo-Nazi groups that we've investigated over the years have clearly still had a deeply anti-Semitic mindset and a violently anti-Semitic mindset as well. But clearly, Israel's response to what happened on October the 7th and what's happened in Gaza has hugely raised the temperature on issues around the Jewish community everywhere in the world, but including in the UK.
And the poster of this video says, in case you were wondering how long it would take for the BBC to put the blame for this morning's Manchester Yom Kippur atrocity on A, the far right, and B, Israel's response to what happened on October the 7th, you notice they didn't talk about Muslims in Britain or indeed about what actually did happen on October the 7th and who is responsible for that. While tossing off some vague reference to Middle East political mindset, but with not one word about Islamist terrorism or recognition of the Palestinian state. Well, in case you were wondering how long it would take them to do that, the answer is barely 2.5 hours. And then she says, Daniel Sandford and BBC News, shame on you. Well, they won't feel any shame. So it's telling them to feel shame. Bit pointless. They had their shame removed surgically when they went through the front doors of the BBC. So now, back to why people aren't watching. The real power, he says, is not wielded by us, but by the viewer. No, absolutely not. If it were wielded by the viewer, we wouldn't get Black Anne Boleyns on our screens, would we? Because everybody knows that Anne Boleyn was not black. And it's just jarring. If they wanted to make programmes about featuring historical black people, there are plenty of black African kings who interacted with white people, and you could make all sorts of films about that. But no, they just take the British royal family 500 years ago and make one of them black. It's just irritating. Okay, right, what else does he say? Now viewers can go elsewhere if they don't like what we serve them. Yeah, and quite right too. Why should people be forced to watch things they don't like? Or do you have this idea that you have to be able to force people to watch certain things for their own good? And increasingly, that's exactly what they do, turning not to rival channels, but to rival mediums. Wouldn't that be media? Oh, anyway, that threaten the existence of television altogether. Well, yes, that's the way technology works. The motor car killed the horse and cart. I mean, year on year, overall viewing of television is falling. Oh, what a shock. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. One technology taking over from another. I think I've told you this story before. There's a story about a fellow who invented a stocking knitting machine during the reign of Queen Elizabeth. And he took the machine to the Queen and he said to her, look, how about this? We can knit stockings much faster than, because all these ladies would be sitting by the fire knitting stockings. It was watching his mother and his sisters doing that made him think of inventing a machine that did a sort of circular knit. So Queen Elizabeth said, yeah, that's very nice, but she wouldn't give him a royal warrant to make more of these because it would put the stocking knitters out of a job. So we went to Holland or Belgium or somewhere like that, and they became the stocking knitting capital of the world. Yeah, and that's what technology is all about. So it says here, instead of year-on-year viewing of TV is falling. Instead of concentrating on something for an hour, a growing number of viewers prefer to doom scroll. Well, yeah, they sometimes doom scroll. But as for not watching things for an hour, I'm sure more people do that more. There's, as I say, Joe Rogan, his shows go on for hours. And you get all these university lectures, and like Jordan Peterson in his earlier incarnation as a lecturer. And he'd be lecturing a classroom full of students, and he'd be walking backwards and forwards, wandering through his subject. There's a sort of stream of consciousness set of ideas, not scripted as such. And people, myself included, would sit there mesmerised watching him. No, it's not that people don't want this stuff and don't have the patience for it. They're hungry for it. They just don't like the rubbish you, what's your name, Alf, are putting out. But maybe, as many do, you still think TV has gone to the dogs and want someone to blame. And then he says, well, I'm afraid you must blame yourselves, dear viewers, you patronising little toad. The viewers want quality stuff. You're not giving them. You and your producers and your directors and your bosses and all the rest of it, all you people who get invited to the BBC cocktail parties. Yeah, and they all think the same. In fact, you don't dare not say the same thing because you'll be ostracised, and that would be terrible, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's it. So all you viewers, you should know you're to blame for Alf Laurie's failings, just so you know. Right, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.